Greetings wherever you are. If you're watching this right now, that means that you have enrolled in a history class online, and I'm going to be your professor for the semester. My name is Dr. Ryan Pettengill. I am a full-time professor at Mountain View College in Dallas. That is where my office is located. If you'd like to meet with me face-to-face, I'm on the Mountain View campus. I'm typically there at the very least Monday through Thursdays, and if you want to meet, I very much suggest that you make an appointment so that I know that you're coming. What we're going to be doing with this video introduction is acquainting ourselves with the guidelines, expectations, and requirements for History 1301. So what I'd like you to do, if you haven't done so already, is go ahead, put me on pause, and print out a copy of your syllabus. Now, if you've logged into the class, you can find a copy of the syllabus if you look at the left-hand side of the screen and you look at information. Go ahead and click information, and inside that information link, you'll see a copy of the syllabus. Download it, print it out, or follow along with me as we go through the syllabus line by line. Okay, so the first thing that you see there is contact information for me. I just mentioned that I'm on Mountain View College's campus, and my office number is W as in West 243. So that's where you can physically get a hold of me if you'd like. I've got a phone number. I can't guarantee you that I'm going to answer if you call. I'm much better with email than I am with phone. The phone number is area code 214-860-3618. Lastly, email. Email is probably the best way to get a hold of me, and I check my account religiously. If you get me a message Monday through Thursday before 3 o'clock, there's a very good chance I'll respond the same day. Weekends and nights are a little bit slower, but I'd also like to believe that I'm pretty approachable and punctual when it comes to that also. That is the contact information. Again, if you want to meet face-to-face, appointments are always best, okay? The next thing that I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the course. This is History 1301, so we're talking about the early survey course. We're going to be talking about a variety of different things. I think that you'll find this class interesting in the sense that I don't really emphasize a whole lot of political/military history. I do emphasize the development of political economy, and there's certain circumstances that you just can't avoid talking about, the American Revolutionary War, the Civil War being one of them. But for the most part, what I do is, instead of giving you a detailed description of the Battle of Gettysburg, I'll explain to you what the Battle of Gettysburg ultimately did, how it changed not only the nature of the American Civil War, but how it changed the purpose of the war, why people thought that they were fighting the war, and ultimately what it would do to life in America in the aftermath of the battle and war. Anyway, we're going to begin our discussion, and I can't give you a great date here, considering it's very open-ended. You'll understand exactly what I mean as you begin watching the video lectures. Anyway, we're going to begin our discussion in the pre-Columbian contact period. So the time period before 1492, when Europeans started showing up in the Western Hemisphere, which of course would change life in the Americas for forever. Okay. Now we're going to be going through a very specific date, and that date would be 1877. Why 1877? Well, there's a process that ends, and when it ends, what you're going to see is not only a very new time period, very different time period emerge, you're also going to see the emergence of what you and I would think of as modern American history. So 1877 is very important, and you'll understand why upon completing this class. If you have further questions about what the course is about, go ahead, email me, call me, come by and talk to me, and we can take it from there. At any rate, what I'd like to do now is talk a little bit about the reading list, okay? There are 4 books that you need to purchase. Well, I say you need to purchase. I have made them available at the library. They are on reserve, so if you want to go ahead and do things that way, you can certainly do that. What I'd like to do is point out what ones you need and what ones you can kind of wait to purchase, if you will. First of all, everybody needs a copy of Documents for America's History. It's a big green book. As a matter of fact, I will frequently refer to it as your big green book over the course of the semester. And it's a document reader. It's not a textbook, although it feels an awful lot like a textbook. The next book that you're going to need is America's History. Now that is the textbook. Let me stop for just a moment. It used to be that I didn't have video lectures in this class, and so I felt that you needed something, a line-by-line chronology of what the class is, how it's going to function, and what happened and when it happened. But because I've begun to upload most, if not all, of my lectures online, I think that those of you that are audio/visual learners, I think that you'll probably be able to get away with not having the book. Now, do I think it's a terrible idea to buy the book? Absolutely not. The book is great. The problem is it's expensive. I want to say if you buy it the digital version, that is renting it, it's every bit of $60, which as far as I'm concerned is a little bit much. So if you want to maybe not get the book, at least in the beginning, and see if you can survive based on my lectures alone, that's one option. If you want to rent it, that's another option, and as I've just mentioned a second ago, I have put a copy on reserve at the Mountain View College Library. Next, Frederick Douglass, My Bondage and My Freedom. Everybody needs a copy of this, and the good news, everybody does have a copy of it, whether you know it or not. I've emailed you about this. There is a copy, a digital copy in eCampus. It's on Blackboard. You can get that copy if you go to Information, click on Information, the same place that you went to download the syllabus, and you should see another folder entitled Online Texts. There's a copy of Frederick Douglass, which is a PDF on the inside of Online Texts. You can read it on a tablet, you can read it on a laptop, a computer. If you want to print it out, if you've got access to cheap or free printing, you can do that also. So everybody has a copy, but if you're old-fashioned like me and you want a copy for yourself, you can absolutely find it for cheap at a place like Half Price Books. And I want to say our bookstore is selling it for around about $10, give or take. Okay. The last book that you're going to need is Sam Patch, The Famous Jumper. And once again, there is a copy for you online in the Online Texts folder. It's not nearly as seamless and pretty as Frederick Douglass, but it will get the job done. The good news is Sam Patch is going for cheap. Also, I want to say about $10 is the most that you're going to pay. And of course, if you can find it at a library, or if you can get it at half price for half the price of what the bookstore is selling it, more power to you. Okay? The next thing that I'd like to talk to you about is the requirements, what you need to do in this class to pass it. The first thing I want to point out is that the class is as difficult or as accessible as you want to make it. Okay? The easiest thing that you can do to really maximize your performance is participate in the discussion forums. Okay? If you look on Blackboard, the second link from the top, right underneath announcements, it says discussions. If you click that, it's going to take you to a discussion board, and you're going to see all the discussion forums that you need to complete over the course of the semester. Now you can complete them all tomorrow if you want. I don't necessarily recommend that, but theoretically you could. Or you can do them progressively. You just can't do them after their due date expires. So for instance, there is at least one discussion forum that's due at the end of this week, and in order to complete it successfully, you need to make sure that it's completed by the day that specifies in the syllabus. Now, typically, I'll try to send you an email to remind you that you'll have a discussion due before the day is over. And just so we're clear on this, 11:59 p.m. is when the day is over. But I don't always get to it. I forget. I've got other classes. I've got other things going on, as all of you do as well. And so please don't rely exclusively on me to remind you when you've got a discussion due. It's always a great idea to check the syllabus and check the site regularly. But the discussion forum is going to be worth 20% of your cumulative grade. Now, I don't grade them based on, you know, how brilliant of a paper or a post I think that you made. I grade it based on, did you actually engage the central question of the discussion forum? And did you read the documents that I asked you to read? Is it evident that you did those two things? As long as the answer to that is yes, I typically award full credit. The next easiest, most accessible way, however you want to look at it, to complete the class is to complete the quizzes. Again, right underneath discussions, you are going to see quizzes, and the quizzes are essentially open book. In other words, what I'm going to do is ask you a very broad question and refer you to a very specific document in your big green book and ask you to answer the question using the document. And once again, as long as it's pretty evident that you're answering the question and you clearly have read the document, I typically award 3 out of a possibility of 3 points. You're going to see a total of 5 quizzes over the course of the semester, and this is going to account for 15% of your cumulative grade. So if you're doing the math with me, 35% of the course is essentially open book. It's not timed, although they do have a shelf life. They will expire if you let them. And I guess what I'm trying to say is 35% of your cumulative grade is in your hand. You can control it. It should be pretty straightforward. The class is going to get a little bit more difficult from here on out. The papers, you're going to see 2 papers over the course of the semester. Each of them are going to be worth 10% of your cumulative grade. You have access to those paper questions as we speak, so it's not like I'm trying to hide something or surprise you or anything like that. But to do well in the papers, you really need to read Frederick Douglass and Sam Patch. As long as you have a really good understanding of those papers, you're going to be able to do all right on the papers themselves. Okay, so start reading Frederick Douglass, for instance. Start reading him and just try to get the best understanding that you possibly can early on in the course. Okay, the papers are going to be worked together 20% of your cumulative grade. Now the rest of the course is based on a midterm exam and a final exam. Both of these exams are going to consist of multiple choice questions, short written essay questions, and 1 long per exam. 1 long essay question. Once again, you've got a review guide that's ready to go inside the exam folder that will tell you exactly what you need to study, or in some cases it'll tell you exactly what question you will see on the exam. Now typically that's going to be for the longer essay exam that I kind of view more or less like a paper, so sort of like a take-home exam, if you will. And what I expect is for you to actually think about this and think about the course material that we've been studying and analyzing, and use that as evidence to kind of demonstrate something bigger, something broader, or, as we'll find out in this class, your argument. Okay? That's the course in a nutshell. There's not a whole lot more to it other than that. Now, I want to get back to how to navigate Blackboard and how to really maximize your performance on here. There's various things that you can do to really help you through this whole thing. First and foremost, my video lectures. As I'd mentioned in the beginning of this talk, most if not all of my lectures are online, and you can access them by clicking content. It's right. It's right at the it's the 3rd bullet point from the top. Click content, and it's going to take you to a series of folders. One says video lectures, the other says PowerPoints. Open up video lectures. You're going to see 3 more folders: Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3. All the lectures for Unit 1 are inside Unit 1's folder. So if you open it up, what you're going to see is a laundry list of lectures. All these things are links to YouTube, and you're going to see a video very similar to the one that you're watching right now that will take you through a particular lesson. This is essentially what you would be reading about if you were to read America's history. Now, I think it's a great idea to watch the lecture and then go ahead and read a corresponding chapter in America's history. But this will give you the short and dirty version of that, and many students, I think, are far better able to understand my lectures rather than reading a 30-page textbook, this happened and this happened and this happened kind of chapter. Anyway, the choice is yours, and I would encourage you to do both, okay? But accompanying the video lectures are corresponding PowerPoint presentations. So if you go back to content, just click content once again, you will see, again, 3 folders, Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3, all of which house the PowerPoint presentations. And so inside there, you're going to see a PowerPoint that you can download. For example, you've got Empires of North America. That's the first lecture of the semester. The video lecture will take you through it. The PowerPoint presentation that accompanies it will help you break down the lecture. It's probably important that you don't, think of this as just a word for word verbatim. I need to get this into my notes. It's not really that. It's more or less like a roadmap, so you can help break down and kind of digest the lecture that you're receiving here. I'm trying to get you as close to an actual lecture classroom as I possibly can. In other words, this is designed to be as close to a face-to-face meeting class as we possibly can, but with the convenience of being online. One of the ways that we can kind of move in that direction is by you watching my video lectures and using the PowerPoint presentations to follow along. These are the exact same lectures and PowerPoint presentations that I would give you if we were meeting in class. They're just shortened a little bit, okay? That's more or less all I wanted to cover for today. There will be more information as the class unfolds. Much of it will be email. There will be a time or two that I go ahead and send you a video message similar to the one that you're watching right now. For the time being, I want to congratulate you on selecting an online class. This is an excellent way to accumulate college credit at the same time that it's helping you to think critically about information that you see all around you. I'm hopeful that you're all ready to hit the ground running. I certainly am. If there's anything that I can do to clarify anything that we've gone over, be it the online operating system, the requirements, or anything whatsoever, please don't hesitate to let me know. Okay? I've given you various ways to get a hold of me, and please take this opportunity to let me know if there's something that's not making sense. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. If I were you, what I would do is I would begin to read Frederick Douglass, read as much as you possibly can, digest as much as you possibly can, and get moving on both the video lectures and also the Transforming America, not Transforming, but Shaping America videos, which are also located in the content section of Blackboard. More of that as the semester unfolds. For the time being, here's to a productive semester. Goodbye.